Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome back. We've got War 2 of Season 19, and this war we're up against ISO8A, one of their mini shell alliances here. It's a brand new one, ISO-8. So, let's go ahead and scout. These guys are running Stubborn this war, which is should be interesting. So I'm going to be taking Path 1. I've got an Invisible Woman here on node 13. It's got Masochism and Indomitable, which just means that I can't reverse the healing. Void would be a good matchup here, I think, but I'm actually going to be using Crossbones. So basically, with Crossbones is Furies. Each Fury that he has reduces ability accuracy on the opponent by 22%. So if you get up to 5, that'll reduce their ability accuracy by 100%, and I shouldn't even have to worry about Masochism at that point. But I also plan to be using the Enhanced Fury Mastery tree, so my Furies will be even more potent. It should only take 4 Furies for me to completely negate her abilities, but it is a rank 3. Not really a big deal, I assume. We will see. And then in Section 2, I've just got 2 fights here. I've got Iron Man Infinity War on Rage. And again, I'm going to be using Crossbones here. Crossbones shouldn't trigger Rage with this guy's health pool. And a lot of his damage is secondary damage from his Furies. And he never crits on his own. So it should be good. And then even if if I'm able to build up again at least 4 or 5 or more Furies on my own, then I don't believe that Rage will trigger at all, and I won't have to worry about his power gain phase towards the end of the fight, or his armors or anything like that. So that should be good. And then for this fight, I'm going to be bringing Thing. And this is really good placement, actually. So Doom is a stubborn defender. He's a defensive defender, so he benefits from stubborn. This is Power Focus 2, and his L2 has massive block penetration, and this node obviously gives him aggression prowess. So, every stack of prowess is going to increase his L2 damage by 50%. I think that Thing is probably the only way to go. I guess Red Guardian could probably take this fight too. Maybe even Captain America Infinity War with proper synergies like the Science synergy that reduces incoming damage. I'm not sure, but I know for sure that Thing is a good matchup here. What I want to do there is just stack up my rock stacks, get to 20, which will trigger protection and reduce damage by, I believe, 95% total if he were to throw an L2. It's not an unblockable L2 either, so it's going to be in my block, which it really isn't an issue. So that's the plan. And then up here on Mini Islands, again, I'm not sure if I'm going to be taking any of these fights. Probably not. I always look at these and I make sure that that I assign counters to these fights, and obviously that we have a good option for the boss node. But I never usually outright assign these fights in the scouting phase or in the beginning phases. We usually wait until we're in Section 2 or about to clear Section 2, just because then I can gauge which players might be having an off war, or which people might be low on items or out of boosts or something like that, and we can pick the best options overall at that point. So I'm going to be bringing Thing and Crossbones. I'm not really sure who my third attacker should be. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided yet, and I'm going to have to make that decision right now. But let's go ahead and get the people in there that I know I'm going to bring. if I brought Fury, that would give me another good option for some mini boss fights in case that's needed. And you know what? He would be a great option um, for Invisible Woman. That could save me some health. Let's do that. It is masochism, so she'll be regenerating from the bleeds, but it shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. Well, we're gonna go for it. So this is my team here. I've got this Invisible Woman fight. Just like last war, I'm going to move up to my fight, but not take it quite yet. I want to build up a little bit more energy so that I can at least reach my Section 2 fights all in one set of boosts in case I don't want to use the 6-hour boost. I'm getting really low on those. So that's it, and I will see you guys in the fights. Alright, so here we are. We are joining up. I'm going to put on some moderate boosts and going with Nick Fury. The start to this fight was about as bad as it could get. You guys see the indestructible that she's getting, and that's because she's a stubborn defender, of course. I was just the rhythm and everything. I mean, there she just stood there, and like a fool, I tried to punish that. That's just like a taunt from the game. I mean, just so dumb. And then I run into a special. It was fantastic. So I finally get off this this L2 and take control of this fight. But you know, rhythm is a big part of this game, and my rhythm could not have been more completely effed than it was at the start of that fight. It's about as bad as it gets. But we are fine here. I still have my life model decoy. I'm now healing from willpower from her debuffs, which is good. I would like to retain my life model decoy. And in hindsight, you guys will kind of get it towards the end of this video, but in hindsight, it would have been ideal for me to finish that fight in real Nick Fury mode and not have my life model decoy. And I'll get into why a little bit later here. But okay, so this next fight, I'm going to be boosting up a little bit more. I did change my masteries for this fight. I have max and precision to try to generate furies, and then I've got maxed out on the fury tree and offense. So I'm going to activate overrun here, and it's going to give me a burst of a few furies. Each of those furies is going to do about 25% ability accuracy reduction. So he's not going to gain any armors when I have 4 or more furies, and it should not trigger rage. I believe that that fury that he had was when I triggered that when I had fewer than 4 furies. So the downside of overrun, obviously, is that the trade-off is you forfeit a lot of block proficiency. So in a fight like this, where you're going to either be doing a lot of blocking or need to reparry, something that I'm unfortunately not very skilled at, and I really need to devote more time to that because it would have been a huge thing for this fight. But yeah, so I'm losing quite a bit of health, and it's all from taking block damage. The fury charges that he has from rage are also not helping. I mean, that's making his attack into my block a lot more significant. But the problem is right now I'm not able to keep up my furies enough. And you know, the Taskmaster synergy is something that would help with this. I was actually considering bringing Taskmaster for this synergy. And then here I get auto-blocked. I'm just pounding away. But I didn't have 4 furies. I had 3 furies. So his ability was reduced by about 85%, and he did still auto-block me. So, you know, I just wasn't paying attention to that. If you guys are taking a fight similar to this, first of all, especially after that Crossbones fight, unless the defense is running the flow tactic, just use Omega Red. Omega Red would have melted Infinity Man on this node in, 90 seconds. And yeah, so I'm going back in with Thing. I did change, or I'm going to be changing my masteries actually after this fight for my next fight. But I'm just blocking everything here. I don't want to mess up. And all I really want to do is just heavy him. But the blocking obviously helps build my rock stacks, which is good. I'm not doing hardly any damage, but that's not really an issue. I just want to manage his power. I have 5 minutes, and yeah, I'm able to get him down with that last heavy. But all right, so this next fight, this is in R3 Dr. Doom, and I kind of touched on it at the beginning of this video when I was scouting. But this node has two things. It's got Power Focus 2, which means that it is going to give Dr. Doom a lot of power up until his special 2, and then after he fills 2 bars of power, his power gain rate is going to drop significantly. And it's also got Aggression Prowess. Now, Aggression Prowess is going to proc every 2 seconds regardless, and they'll continue to stack. The only way to get those off is to hit him. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going to go ahead and push him to the L2 because I got 20 rock stacks, and my protection will trigger. I also changed my masteries once again after finishing off Iron Man to make sure that I had full suicides to get the extra damage because I was afraid of Doom's tankiness here. So I'm trying to bait this L2. That first little part of his L2 did some decent damage, but then my protection triggered because of it, and so the follow-up hits didn't really do anything. Because he's stubborn, you do want to obviously dex his L1, but then you'll just have to block him or parry him before you can do any more damage. So at this point in the fight, I'm a little over a minute in, and I'm thinking, okay, this isn't going too poorly. I should be okay. I'm going to throw my L3. That's going to activate a lot of Furies, and what I'm doing is I'm trading in my rock stacks for Furies, and for some amount of time, I can't remember how long, I am going to get Unblockable and Unstoppable. Alright, so there I've got, I get another protection, but I only had 9 rock stacks, so it does a little bit more damage than had I had 20 rock stacks. Alright, so it triggers again. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, I think it's just smartest for me to keep 20 rock stacks at all times. Just make sure that I've got protection the entire fight. And that first beam on his L2 is still going to do its regular damage, but then the rest of his L2 is going to do virtually no damage. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at this point. I am taking more damage than I expected to, and also with his prowesses, it's not helping on that first beam. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I actually might not survive this fight. So I did get off the parry there, and because Thing is also a stubborn attacker, or because he has the hashtag defensive qualifier there, I do have the perfect block chance, which is very nice. I don't think that I would have finished this fight without that, but I was able to parry the first part of that last Doom special, which reduced the damage significantly for me. And actually, I think it perfect blocked it, thankfully. So overall, I don't know if I think that Doom is the best, or I'm sorry, Thing is the best option there. I think Omega Red still is probably the best. He's just going to melt him. But alright, so at the beginning of this video, I talked about how I wish I kind of had killed off my life model decoy. And the reason being, we tried this Doom on Stubborn, and we tried, the first attempt was with a rank 3 Red Hulk. And this fight in general was just way, way, way harder than any of us thought that it would be. The block proficiency is outrageous. Or, I'm sorry, the block penetration from Doom is just insane. So because I still had my life model decoy with Nick Fury, I kind of took a look around, and unfortunately, what we thought at the time was our best option to get him down on this second attempt was a Nick Fury. So I changed my masteries again. I maxed out deep wounds. I took off suicides. I fully max boosted, and I healed him up. I also used an indestructible boost or an invulnerability boost. So this was super, super, super expensive, and this is the type of stuff that you're gonna have when there's a new map with new nodes. You're gonna have a situation where you think on paper something looks good, like a Red Hulk versus a Doom boss, and then you realize that, oh wait, that's not an option, and you're gonna have to scramble. And yeah, so it kind of fell on me. There just wasn't any other better options than my Nick Fury. So I've done about 25% damage. I had to push him to his L3, and at this point I'm in real Nick mode. He did nullify my Fury, so I'm not even getting the extra damage, and I know that I'm gonna die from this blocked hit, and I do. So my conclusion would be that Nick Fury is not an option for that Doom boss. I think the best option for the Doom boss is actually going to be Ghost, even with Stubborn. You can still get off unblockable L2s, just make sure that you do a blocked hit prior to launching your L2s. So here are the cards for this war. Syar, an officer in BG2, 9.36, and then Dreamin' with his second consecutive, just under 14 PR. He's having an awesome season again. And that is the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and a comment. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas for the Doom boss, and I will see you in the next video.